search for by different criteria such as size, utility area, cost, a number of other variables. You can think of us as the Solar Land Solutions as the Zillow for solar projects. It's a marketplace, so we're going to have landowners participating as well. Landowners can participate absolutely free. Doesn't cost anything. They can enter their property information into the site. We have developers that come in, look at the sites. We grade the sites based on development criteria such as interconnection, topography, other features that can make or break projects, and assign them a simple grade 0 to 100. The developer can contact the landowner directly through our portal and send leases, marketing material, site plans directly to the landowner. We feel that this will accelerate the process and also kind of create some transparency between the two parties. As a marketplace, customer acquisition is very important. So we have a channel for solar. We have a channel for solar developers already. We have an existing client base that is interested in using the project. We also feel like we'll build that pipeline more through direct marketing, webinars, sales pitches. And there's no one size fits all model. We're going to use social media advertising. We're also going to use traditional advertising focused on things such as Farm Bureau publications, local newspapers, landowner association publications. We're going to have call and registration for landowners and also crowdsource generation through a solar ambassador program. This is our 5-year projected revenue. This takes into account the expiration of the ITC. Since we're in land development, we are waiting by about a year for project construction. So our 2016 year is post-ITC right now. ITC is extended. This will all change. It's a hockey stick. I know everybody needs to see these hockey sticks. What you're seeing is kind of the recovery after the ITC from 1 gigawatt in 2016, well, really 2017, to 3 gigawatts projected in 2021. This is off the data we got from GTMs. Also, you're seeing the growth of community on top of that, which we also work actively right now in New York, other markets, Minnesota, in the community space. So we think in about 5 years, we're looking at a $12 million revenue stream. Some milestones about my company. I founded the company in 2014. In our first full year of operations, we've generated over $100,000 in revenue. We have done projects in 15 states. We have 5 active clients in 3 operational regions. We've created a pipeline of 40 megawatts in Minnesota recently. We're very proud of that. It's a very competitive market. We're going up against Solar City, going up against Berkshire Hathaway Renewables, and we managed to get support in that area. And we also did a pipeline of 50 megawatts in South Carolina. Right now we're a service company, so the idea is to switch to more automation. Instead of knocking on doors, we'll have a bigger inventory of sites by kind of the marketplace. We've got a lot of contracts under negotiation right now. We're a bootstrap startup. In other words, this is what I do full time. I put my own money in this, salary my living. So if you invest with our company, you can be sure that I will be taking care of your money if I'm taking care of mine too. We've gone from concept to MVP in 3 months. This was just a dream 3 months ago, and we've got a working prototype right now. Industry interest in our marketplace, which is very important. Current clients that we do services for, I mentioned Solar Energy. They're interested in using the marketplace. They want renewable energy and the United States Solar Corporation. And as we have others, I'm not going to mention them. These are the 3 that we're okay with you saying this today. What we want to do in the next 6 months, refine our product for market entry. You know, we've got an MVP, it needs some work, but we're pretty proud of what we've done in 3 months. Build an inventory of solar-ready sites all across the U.S. to host over 100 megawatts. We're really pushing the needle forward because their projected utility in 2017 is 1 gig. That's a pretty good amount. 50% conversion rate for landowners. We want to get some high numbers of people actually participating in this project. And we want to continue building our core team, our long-term growth. And we want to start acquiring metadata for land and connection. We're going to do deeper analytics of finding the best locations for solar. And we've been in talks with a team at PV Mapper in utilizing their open source code into integrating into what we've built. They do some very deep analytics. You can mess around with averages based on location, what's most important for each location. We'd like to expand the marketplace to include project and portfolio acquisition, as well as rooftop projects and brownfield projects. we also like to look at unregulated utilities and co-ops as potential clients. I'm Mike Berry, I'm a founder, 16 years land acquisition services, most of it in Berry Energy. I came to the good side of energy a couple of years ago, and Nick Levi is heading up our Western U.S. operations. We've got some good advisors on board as well, Josh Wood, Con Edison, and Reed Richardson on U.S. Solar Corporation as a developer. Thank you very much, and any questions?
I have a question. So one of the elements in your plan is understanding where the utility has capacity on their system to have a new solar installation. Coming from a utility perspective, I used to get those requests every day.
Absolutely.
What's your pathway to get that information?
That's a great question, and the data is not like that easily obtained, right? So the way that's been working now with land acquisition, and one of the reasons I started this company is this land acquisition problem hasn't really been addressed in the industry. It's still very low tech how everything's done. So we don't anticipate doing like interconnection studies prior to obtaining like initial site control. We're going to obtain some loose site control. Usually it's a lease option, a letter of agreement, letter of intent, and then the connection study is done. So we will expect like some of these sites, they may be perfect from a topography, wetlands, all this, they're right on the right place of the grid, but that interconnection study will kill it. We accept that, and that seems to be kind of the part of the torch right now in the industry. If we can come up with a better solution, though, I'll be watching for new data sets all the time. NatGrid just put their distribution map up online for free, and that's awesome. Let me tell you what, signing community in NatGrid now is very easy. Very, very easy. So that's New York, by the way.
So we have a significant amount of effort going into the site surveying, right, to get actual capability of identifying the site.
Yes.
So there's about dozens of products in the marketplace that do that now. How's this?
Well, this is different because just identifying a good site is only one half of the equation. That good site may be owned by someone who has no interest in doing a project. I mean, the sites that are appearing on our platform are from landowners who are interested in working a deal with the developer. So I may have the best, site for solar. It's right on the grid. There's capacity on the line, but I want to build a multi-million-dollar shopping mall there, and that's what I'm going to do with it. So that's where we're bringing value.
What is your assumption about the acquisition cost of your customer, landowner, or both sides? And what are you going to do as you go into this boots on the ground sort of automated system? Where do you see it going?
Well, I don't think that there'll ever be, I think there'll be a need for service all the time, especially like in RFP situations where you've got a month to get your site and get a project in for a bit. But, and I'm glad you brought this up because I didn't really tell you how I'm going to make money at this. That's a pretty crucial point. We're going to, as far as that goes, we're going to charge success-based fees based on the financing for the developers. In other words, at NTP or notice to proceed at commissioning, that's when when our fees will come in. For customer acquisition, it's really across the board. We've used, I'm embarrassed to say this, we've used Craigslist to generate leads on parcels. And we've got some great sites in different areas. So that's free, all the way to very directed targeted marketing. When we find those sites that are choice, I'm willing to spend a lot more to go meet that landowner, sit down with them, show them the benefits of hosting a solar site, showing him the potential revenue stream for him, which is nice and secure actually. And when you look at it, it's a long-term commitment, 20 to 25 years with extensions, but it's a nice, solid, secure revenue stream once that PPA is in place. So for choice sites, we'll spend more. And then just from what we can get in through advertising, we're gonna try to hit the hottest markets, and also those markets that aren't going to be really out there for a couple of years. So there's a lot of states where there's some great land that can host solar, but there's just no incentive right now. So we want to cover both.
You talked about a grading structure for your site. How do you standardize that? Because there are other people doing this and they use a different sort of metric. So how do people know what's what?
Okay, well, so we're using weighted averages at a very high level. We're not going to get into the weeds on, very like municipal localized areas. What we would want to cover is on a state-by-state basis, things that aren't just related to the actual ground, but Maryland, for example, has an ag cooler program where you cannot build. If it's in that program, you're not going to be able to build anything. Some of those tracks are the best for solar. So we want to include things like that state by state, especially once we start getting inventory in a particular state. We anticipate New York will probably be one of our busiest states to start off.
One last question from the audience. How do you drive down the cost of towers?
How will we drive down the cost? I think using crowdsourcing will probably be one way where we can actually have person-to-person interaction. There's definitely an education component to this, and we hope to provide that as well.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. So our acquisitions, our next team is Revolve. So Andres Corrales is the founder and executive director of Revolve, a nonprofit solar financing organization based in San Francisco.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, everyone. My name is Andreas Morales. I'm the founder and executive director of Revolve. Revolve is a nonprofit organization based in San Francisco. Revolve finances solar energy projects for nonprofits and cooperatives using a revolving fund that's raised through crowdfunding and donations. Well, I'm going to introduce you to Daryl Lee. Daryl is the president of the Other Avenues Food Cooperative that's been serving San Francisco with healthy groceries for over 40 years. For the past 8 years, Daryl has been trying to find a way to finance a solar energy project, but couldn't find anyone to work with. There are 1.5 of federal tax credits for solar. Number two is that it's difficult to demonstrate the creditworthiness of these projects. And number three is that these projects are typically too small to be working at. This is where Revolve's solution comes to play. We took Daryl's story and we shared it online through a crowdfunding campaign. Donations from around the world came in to help Revolve build a 32 kilowatt system for Other Avenues. Other Avenues now saves $300,000 on electric bills, and most importantly, through our revolving fund, the revenues from this project will pay for 3 more solar energy projects for other communities. Allow me to explain how it works. The first stage of our model is crowdfunding tax-deductible donations from people, Americans, who care about solar energy and are looking to take action. The next step is investing those donations into a revolving fund to finance solar energy projects for nonprofits and cooperatives that serve their community. These organizations sign a 20-year lease agreement with Revolve, during which time they save 15% of their electric bill, and Revolve earns 8 to 12% internal rate of return on our investment. We then reinvest those payments into future solar energy projects, creating a pay-it-forward model that creates a snowball effect for solar energy in the country. I'll point out here that Revolve is a sustainable nonprofit, and we receive earned revenue from a percentage of the lease revenues. This graph here shows how we differentiate from other crowdfunding solar organizations. Because we don't pay investors back, because we receive tax-deductible donations, we're able to pay those investments forward, which allows us to take advantage of compound interest and experience the exponential growth once a year. To validate this model, we've run 3 crowdfunding campaigns on Indiegogo, which were all successful, and we have installed 3 projects in the Bay Area totaling 65 kilowatts. These projects were donated by 1,000 donations that raised $120,000, and those 1,000 donations came from 38 states in the country and from 22 countries around the world. So what this goes to show us is that people who care about solar are willing to donate to a revolving fund for solar energy, even if a particular project is not in their backyard. Most importantly, those 3 projects now have a lease revenue stream worth $360,000, which we are going to use to install 9 new solar energy projects. So this revolving fund is already up and running. Thanks to the Department of Energy, we built an MVP, which we see here. This is our new crowdfunding platform. A user who cares about solar energy can come and select a project and easily make a donation. Once they do, it takes them to their portfolio page where they can see the impact that they have, both social and environmental. But most importantly is the reinvest function. Here they get to see every month when a payment is made back from a project they've supported, a credit appears in their portfolio, which they then get to select which project on the platform they would like to fund next. Lastly, our new platform allows anybody in the country to propose a project to host on the platform. Revolve has a 2-pronged customer acquisition strategy. Our first is the Solar Ambassador Program. This is a college fellowship. We are currently training 40 college students at these 5 universities to go out into their communities, identify local solar projects, and then use their networks to crowdfund those projects. This is also in key with our mission of training the next generation of clean energy leaders. We currently have 5 projects lined up through these universities in Ohio, Wisconsin, Southern California, and for Villanova and Portland. We have 2 projects lined up right here in Philadelphia. We also have customer acquisition through partnerships with environmental organizations and companies that want to support the revolving fund, including, for example, the National Audubon Society, that's helping us for over 12 years. Such groups as ACOR, Blue Energy, and Center for Resource Solutions. We have a team of advisors, including Matt Flannery, who's the founder of Kiva, Kiva being one of the largest, most successful social impact crowdfunding platforms to date. William Ryan, the former administrator of the Environmental Protection Agency, and Jamie Kennedy, founder of leading solar leasing company Longevity, who I now have the pleasure of sharing an office with. Our board of directors represent these 10 organizations here. We also have 2 additional full-time staff, Sarah Brinker and Gabrielle Keels, who together have a decade worth of experience in communications, fundraising, program management at the Sierra Club and through AmeriCorps. Revolve has had, with $100,000, which is what we now see, we will grow our team, launch our platform, and in the next 6 months, we hope to empower 5,000 people to raise $250,000 to build the 5 projects we already have lined up, and in the process, educate 10,000 Americans about the benefits of solar. We have had a tremendous amount of support so far, with lots of momentum, including we are proud to be a member of an inaugural member of the White House National Community Solar Partnership. We have a lot of momentum. We invite you to join us in collaborating and taking this to scale. We thank you for all of your support, and I look forward to your questions.
So the model might come in from the crowdfunding initially. The projects are selected based on what kind of credit worthiness. You have free inbound capital, but you haven't eliminated all the normal credit risk side of things. So how are you accounting for that in the model and thinking about sites? And you mentioned that because I get credits to my account, I can then say what project it goes into. Is the pre-selection, so what's on the website, is it crowdfunded? It's actually pre-screened by you guys. Like, where and how do you put the checks and balances in? This is the master question.
That's a great question. So we have an application process, which I sort of briefly showed, and then we go a whole vetting process. So again, one of the difficulties here is that these organizations don't have easy access to credit rating. So what we do is, first of all, we typically prefer to work with organizations that own their own building. That demonstrates to us that they have some capacity to sort of stand in their space. But we also have long-term, organizations that have long-term leases. So one thing is we want to see that the organization has been there for a long time. The 3 projects that we've done so far have been in their place for 20 years or more. These are places that are really rooted in the community. The second is that we see how many people come through the doors. Does this place have, hundreds of people coming in through the doors, and that's a huge part of it. We also look at their last 3 years' financial statements to see how they're doing. So those are the sort of main criteria. We also do just general background on the organization to see, is this going to be here for 20 years? Again, one of the benefits of being a nonprofit and using tax deductible donations is that we are allowed, we're more flexible in providing risk capital to these projects that financial markets do.
Can you apply this to a community solar-like project beyond just buildings? Tell me how that would work.
The community solar market is obviously growing, and it's an incredible opportunity for people. And I think there's a lot of smart businesses that can work in that space, as we've seen today. We're just focusing on a specific niche, which is behind the meter, nonprofits and co-ops, small scale projects, 10 to 30 kilowatts, because this is left out, right? These are the ones, this is a massive opportunity that's currently not being served by the market. We're not focusing on community solar subscription models. We're focusing on giving people a way to take action to support solar energy in the communities that they care about.
Spoke briefly about the tax credit being a barrier for nonprofits. It looks like your structure doesn't take advantage of that tax credit. Can you just clarify why not being for-profit and then just target the nonprofit sector at the same time? I guess you're leaving that money on the table with tax credit. What would incentivize an organization beyond the donations? Why would they not want to monetize that tax credit?
So the difficulty with, and I'm sure other people can speak to this as well, and the difficulty in monetizing the tax credit is that as a nonprofit, they don't have any taxes to pay. If they were to partner with, if we were to take advantage of the tax credit, we would have to simply partner with a large financial institution. And these projects are so small, they're 10 to 30 kilowatt projects, that it's just really not worth the effort.
Who specifies the developer and things in these things, and what's that relationship? Is there leverage? Do you envision leverage through your organization as you do these with a suite of developers? Like, how do you make sure you get the best price for money, even if it's a nonprofit?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we in the Bay Area, we partnered with another nonprofit called Sunwork. They have a great model where they bring volunteers to the job site and they train them, they do on-job training, and through that process, they're able to offer us a great discount. Now that we're operating in other states, Ohio, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, we're actually working with the college students. We're training them